What is up, and welcome back to the Mariners franchise, where we are through the All-Star break now, which means we have 2 weeks left until the trade deadline. We are going to be making some roster moves. We're going to start with making an internal roster move straight away today, and we might get involved in some trades a little bit later on, but we'll see how these next 2 weeks play out. So to start with, we're going to send Cade Marlowe down to AAA. It was between him and Canzone. Honestly, it's a coin flip. I like both of them. I just ended up going with Cade Marlowe here. We're sending him down to AAA, and we're going to call up not Lazaro Montes. He may still get called up this year, but that'll be more towards the end of the month. Again, we'll see how these next 2 weeks play out. I got a plan in motion, all right? Instead, we're going to call up Cole Young, and he is going to be our everyday shortstop. The job is his to lose. If for whatever reason we determine that he's not the right guy for that spot right now, we'll go back to the platoon of JP Crawford and Ryan Bliss. But from right now on, the shortstop spot belongs to Cole Young this year. So how is that going to work in the lineup? Well, against righties, it's a 1-for-1 swap. Bliss out, Cole Young in. No other changes need to be made there. Against lefties, I've already kind of reworked it a little bit. JP Crawford is going to DH against lefties now. We have a couple of guys that could do the job. JP Crawford, Del Castillo had been DHing against lefties, but he can also play in the outfield. And I'm actually like him better out there, just in case Cal Raleigh gets hurt, because we don't have a catcher on the bench. If Del Castillo's in the outfield, I can just move him to catcher and then bring in another outfielder. Whereas if he's DHing, I can move him to catcher, but then we lose the DH spot and the pitcher has to hit. We don't want to do that. So I actually like that a little bit better. And then that frees up Cole Young to come in and play shortstop against lefties as well. He actually hits a little bit better against lefties, so I'm glad we can get him in there against both righties and lefties rather than just having him platoon. I want him to get as many reps as possible for the rest of the season. And for the next 2 weeks, we're going to shop Rob Refsnyder. We brought him in to DH against lefties. At this point, he's like my 4th choice DH for that spot. Just not worth it anymore. We'll see if we can get something in return for him. Most likely it's going to be a decent to average prospect. I'm really not expecting much, but if we can just get his contract off the books, that would be ideal. It is now deadline day, and we have found our trade for Rob Refsnyder. We're sending him to San Diego for Adrian Morejon, who's a bullpen arm we can utilize straight away, and Dave Jansen, who is a prospect to help us replenish the ranks in the minor leagues, because we're a little bit short on relievers in our farm system. So helps us on 2 fronts. And now that it is August 1st, we can take a look at the players we drafted in this year's MLB draft. And this is the screen that I missed last season when we missed out on taking a look at those draft picks. So now I know August 1st is when this screen is available. And if you miss it, you miss it. That's unfortunate. It's a very small window and it's a tiny little button. But now I know. Now I won't miss this anymore. For this draft, I feel like we did pretty good. I say probably a B, maybe a B minus for us in this draft. We went really position player heavy, which we needed to do. We're really decently stacked at pitching. We needed some position players, and I think we did all right. Junior Becerra, I think that's how you say that. On the other hand, he's not a real player. I can call him whatever I want. We'll go with Becerra. He was our top pick, 87 potential, 18 years old though, which means he's years away from being MLB ready, as is all of our top 3 picks. All of them are teenagers. But this guy wasn't even ranked when we started scouting him. He ended up being like the 10th best player in this draft. We picked him at number 29. I feel like we did all right there. Ortega's a good third base prospect. 1 year of JUCO under his belt, but just 50 rated right now. Sammy Sanchez, also just 50 rated coming out of high school, but decent prospects, all 3 of them. Tyler Cabrera could turn into an okay shortstop / third baseman. Ken Warren was a wasted pick. Honestly, this one happened because I didn't have any prospects left that I had scouted in the range of this pick. So I took a flyer on somebody. Make sure I don't do that again. It's just safer to reach for somebody that you already have scouted than take a flyer, because that can happen. And then a couple of pitchers to round out the draft. Always nice to get a couple of pitchers in. We got Enrique Uribe and Troy Flores. They're actually the closest to being ready for MLB right now. Uribe's actually not too bad. He's 65 rated. Might see him in the next year or 2. And now that we're in August, we can take a look and see which game we're going to play. I think it's going to be game 2 here against Boston. It's a Brian Wu start. Boston's the best team we play this month. We actually only have 2 series against winning teams for the entire month of August. It's Boston, and then a couple weeks later, we play Tampa Bay. That's it. Everyone else has a losing record right now. If we can't make a move this month and pull away from Texas, I don't think we ever will. We have to make our move in August, and we're not going to do that by losing 14-5 to the Athletics in a game that George Kirby started. What in the world happened? What? Kirby went 4. He gave up 6 runs. None of them earned. Oh, Cole Young had 2 errors. That's tragic. What's hilarious is I actually looked right before this game to see if he had made any errors. I specifically looked at errors to see if he made any in his first couple weeks after being called up. He hadn't. Now he has 2. And he killed George Kirby in a start. That's tough. Gott gave up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Brash gave up 4 without recording an out. You know what? Just wipe it from the memory bank. It never happened. It's just one of those games. And before we play the Red Sox, we're going to make one more roster move. We're sending Dominic Canzone. You know, actually, let's just do it now. We're sending Dominic Canzone down to AAA. He's not getting it done. He's not getting better. And the problem is Brent Doyle isn't either. He's also just continues to struggle. I gave them both ample opportunities for one of them to cement themselves as an everyday player in one of the corner outfield spots, and neither one of them could do it. So you know what? We're done. We're calling up Lazaro Montes. It's time. It's time to do it. We got to add him to the 40-man roster. Luckily, I have plenty of spots available on the 40-man roster, and we're calling him up to MLB. And he's going to get his debut in this coming game against Boston. So now we are set for this second game of the series against Boston. We did win the first game, which means we're going for the series win here in this one. But standing in our way is Garrett Crochet. Not only is he a lefty, he's one of the best lefties in the game. Not necessarily the best situation for Lazaro Montes to make his debut, but you know what? It is what it is. So the Mariners rocking the throwback sleeveless jerseys in this one. Personally, one of my favorite jerseys. I just like the way they look. They look very sharp. And they might be a bit of a good luck charm because the bats were hot in this one. JP leads things off in the first with a double. 2 batters later, Julio wraps one inside the third base bag. Duran gets over and cuts it off and holds Julio to a single, but it's enough to score JP from second, and the Mariners already out to a 1-0 lead, but they were not done there. Next batter up, Big Dumper. He hooks one down the line, slicing towards the corner, and it just clears the wall. I'll be honest, I switched his bat to a torpedo bat, and he has been cooking ever since, having his best season so far. The first professional at-bat for Lazaro Montes works a 3-2 count against Crochet, and then stays back on the 3-2 pitch and dumps it into left field for a base hit. Very professional at-bat from the young outfielder, but it's looking like that hit's going to go to waste. 2 outs now. JP Crawford gets plunked. And then after an Alec Bohm walk, it loads the bases for Julio Rodriguez, and he slaps one through the right side for his second RBI of the day. And more importantly, that knocks Crochet out of the game. He doesn't even get out of the second inning, and it loads the bases for Cal Raleigh. Cal don't miss. Puts that one in the gap. Bases clearing double. It is 7-0 Mariners in the second inning. And the offense just never slowed down. Luke Raley in the third goes big fly down the right field line. Just clears the wall, but they all count the same. 2-run home run for Luke Raley. Makes it 9-0. Bottom of the fourth, after an infield single and a stolen base from Julio Rodriguez, Ryan McMahon goes yard to deep center field. Another 2-run home run for the Mariners. 13-0 in the fourth inning. And how about Brian Wu on the mound? Well, he actually took a no-hitter into the fifth, but with 2 outs in the fifth, Jarren Duran flips one down the left field line, ends up legging it out into a double, and the no-hitter is gone. Next hitter, Masataka Yoshida, and there goes the shutout as well. Just dumps one into center field. 2 very soft contact hits for the Red Sox, resulting in a run. Bit unlucky for Brian Wu. In the next inning, a ground ball up the middle by Abreu gets a runner on. Another one, just a bit unlucky. Not a bad pitch, just some decent hitting. And then Blake Sable with some better hitting. There's nothing unlucky about that one. That was definitely not soft contact. That's a 2-run bomb for Sable, and that would actually end the day for Brian Wu. Still a good outing. just unfortunate the way it ended. But the bats just stayed hot for Seattle. Bases loaded for Lazaro Montes. He produces with a single up the middle, scores 2 more. Unfortunately, well, actually only scored 1 more because Luke Raley had a bit of a brain fart on second base. We won't talk about that. And in the 8th, Ryan McMahon steps up and puts the exclamation point on it. No doubt about that one. His second home run of the game, his first multi-home run game for the Mariners, makes it 15-4, and that is how this one would finish. Brian Wu gets the win, goes 5 2/3, strikes out 10. Very good performance up until that little mishap in the 5th, and then the home run in the 6th. And the one thing we didn't talk about in this game was Cole Young came in, just having been called up, had a 12-game hit streak going, was the only Mariner that failed to get a hit in this one, so that was a little unfortunate. So we have 2 contract extensions that we've now handed out in the month of August. The first one is Trent Thornton. You may ask why? Well, because look at his numbers. He's very consistent. He's just a stable presence in that bullpen, something we just don't have a lot of. So I figured if anyone's earned a contract out there, it's him. 4-year contract for him, $4.4 million per year is a little pricey, but it's less than he's making this season, so I figured we could probably afford that. And the second one, and I did go back and forth on this a couple of times, and then I just decided to pull the trigger, is Alec Bohm. Kind of a big extension. I wasn't initially planning on extending him when we traded for him. I figured he'd be a 2-year rental. We'd have some stuff figured out by then, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized we will not be as competitive or anywhere near as good of a ball club if we let him walk at the end of the season. We just don't have a replacement for him right now. I mean, yeah, we could move McMahon to 3rd. We have some middle infield prospects we could call up, but we're going to be losing JP Crawford. I already looked at his extension. It's just too much for what he gives us. I can't justify spending $10 million plus per season on a left-handed DH, which is essentially what he is at this point. There's no way we can do that. So I figured we got to keep Bohm in the team. He's having a little bit of a down year, but again, consistency is key. He usually hits around 275 plus with about 15 to 20 home runs. He's going to get the home runs this year. Maybe the batting average creeps up around 270. I would be shocked if it didn't, but there's just no way to replace him in the short term without spending obscene amount of money on a free agent, when honestly, he's probably going to be the best free agent third baseman there is anyway. Oh, and his extension, it's 7 years, $14.6 million per year. Forgot to mention that. I kind of ended that segment without actually showing you what it was. It's a lengthy extension. It'll take him until he's 36. We'll see if he even gets close to the end of that contract in a Mariners uniform. I rather doubt it. And now that August has come to a close, we can kind of take stock at where we are at. We went 15-12 this month, which isn't terrible, but again, with the lack of competitive teams we played this month, I kind of was hoping for a little bit more. We did kind of fall apart in the middle of the month. We lost the series to the Mets, we lost the series to the Giants, and then we lost the series to Tampa Bay. But we bounced back kind of nice, 3 out of 4 against Detroit. We swept the White Sox, 2 out of 3 over Houston, and then we played the Angels to end the month. I hate the Angels. It doesn't matter if we would be the best team in baseball, we will still lose to the Angels. We lost 2 out of 3 to them to end the month of August. But the good news, the Rangers were worse. We now have a 4.5 game lead over Texas in the American League West. In the wild card, the Rangers are holding on to that last wild card spot. The Red Sox have fallen apart in a way that I don't think I've ever seen. They won 6 games in the month of August. 6. They were 19 games over 500 at one point. They're now 5 games over 500. Crazy collapse from Boston, but that's none of our business. We're now 79-59, 20 games over 500, and only 3 games back of Cleveland for the best record in the AL. We are closing in on a crazy turnaround for this season. Remember, we didn't even have a winning record until like the beginning of June. But that is going to do it for today. A little bit of a shorter episode. Lots of things that happened at the end of July, that behind the scenes stuff like trade deadline, had to sign our draftees, and then we gave out some contract extensions and moved some things around on the roster as well. So just the one gameplay today. Next time we'll come back, we'll close out the month of September and the regular season and get geared up for a playoff run in Seattle. Hopefully. I can't imagine us not making the playoffs at this point with where we're at, but there is always that chance. But that's it for this one. If you did enjoy it, make sure to let me know by leaving a like below. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see when we come back for some more Seattle Mariners franchise. See ya.